What's up, my party people? It's your boy Darshaun Smith back again for another episode of the Positivity Hour, specifically episode 72. As you can see, the medium is a little bit different. I'm on Zoom and I got a guest. Introduce yourself.
What's going on, Darshaun? It's great to be on, but just introducing myself, my name's Naeem, and I'm actually your brother, and I'm obviously from Iowa too, but now I'm currently down in Houston, Texas, and I go to Rice University.
I had mentioned, we support, okay, we support you. But like I was saying, I guess I forgot. I'm Darshaun Smith, otherwise known as the Positivity God, or exclusively on this podcast is Big D. But let's just roll the intro and hop straight into it. So, woo!
Ocean.
All right, we're back. So yeah, how has Darshaun and now Naeem been over this last week? I've already talked enough. Naeem, tell us about yourself, okay? Who are you once again? For all the people who didn't hear, 30 seconds ago, let them know who you are, your age, your current situation, and just how you've been personally over this last week.
Yeah, man. Just I guess a life update. So I'm currently 23, and I'm at Rice University, which is located in Houston, Texas. So really, I started a Master's of Accounting classes this last fall, and it's a 3 semester program, and I also play football down at Rice. And so I just finished my last year of eligibility. I currently have not been picked up by a professional football team, which sucks, but I'm going to just keep pounding the stone. And I've just been working out, just hoping for a call. And, got some side hustles that we got going on. So I don't know if we'll talk about that, but
No, we
yeah,
will.
just
We will.
that's a little bit about me. And I mean, I'm doing well, man. Just another day, just with the grind and just getting after it. What about you though?
You know me, I'm staying positive. I'm living my best life, or I'm trying to. I think the thing I even fall victim to, which I'll admit on this week's episode, is just being a little too positive. Like, it is okay to not be okay, is what my friend Jennifer Fairman once told me, and I agree with that. But ultimately speaking, life's good. Life's great. I'm still here. I woke up this morning. I got air in my lungs, and that's another opportunity to be successful. So that's how I've been over this last week. Academically, I'm doing great. I got a summer class coming up in like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So I got a nice little academic break. I start my working in my research lab next week. So that'll be cool. I'm doing 5 to 10 hours there. I can add that to my academic resume. And
What's the class in 3 weeks?
It's I forget what it's called, but it's through the Public Policy Center here at Iowa. And it's all about people who are interested in research and want to be future researchers, and just like learning the process of how to do social science research, as well as just like finding sources or networking with other researchers or things of that nature. So I think that's one thing I've really come to find more important from all of your teachings to me, Naeem. I'm giving you your rose, okay? That's what I'm saying. I'm giving you your praise. Thank you for waking me up from the matrix and showing me a better life, because although I could say I may not always want to go like super head over heels into real estate or the stock market or all of these things, I do have interest, and I want to go down these realms rather. Though I definitely am interested in research, and there's a lot of overlap. Frida Lynn, the director of graduate studies at Iowa for the sociology program, she put it to me short. She said, when you're a social scientist, you're an entrepreneur. You gotta build your brand. You gotta build your character. You gotta network with people. You gotta be good business. You gotta do good research, and you gotta be be good people. And I think a lot of what you've taught me has helped me in the business sense, because I'm trying to be rich, but also in the other sense of like doing good quality research with other people all around the world and not just like locally. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. Nah, man. I mean, shoot, we talk about stuff all the time, and I mean, like, really, it's just us trying to better ourselves. And I mean, obviously I'm a little older than you, so I feel like I got a taste of this stuff. I think you eventually would have got to this point, but
Yeah.
it was something that like I just came into contact first. So just so happened. And I was like, I know you're such a good kid. You love learning, like you love just being you, you know what I'm saying? So I knew you were gonna like enjoy, whatever material I put in front of you.
No, that's a big goal of mine. I want to learn to the day I die. Doing something.
Yeah,
Currently,
if you stop learning, you're just lying to yourself.
pretty
Like that's just
much.
because you. I want to say it's like Plato or like somebody, some
Hmm.
philosopher from, whenever a long time ago, basically said, just like only like a wise man knows that he doesn't know.
Pretty
So yeah,
much. Another way of saying that is, I don't know what I don't know.
yeah,
Think about
exactly.
it. That's fire. That's heat. But yeah. So I don't really have a script or anything to say. Maybe one day I'll get there. But right now, the unstructured interview is going good, and I think it really does go good simply because I want to be a qualitative researcher in life, and that involves interviewing people. I'm not sure if Naeem. I guess this is one thing we'll use to go down the rabbit hole with whatever we talk about, excluding your business moves, as I've put in my little notes I've come up with. Is I interviewed Geneva, actually. Our
Yeah,
stepmom. Um, she's a assistant county attorney here in Iowa, and I did that for a class project, and it went really well. So being that you have your own podcast that I would very much appreciate if you plugged at this moment, whatever you want to say, the floor is yours. Like how does it how do you feel as a interviewer yourself?
yeah, that's a great question because you definitely learn a lot from the whole process. But I guess if I'm going to plug my own podcast, it's called the Green Light Real Estate Podcast, and currently I'm thinking about changing it because I want to talk more than just real estate. And like I literally just had you on an episode and we really
Mm-hmm.
didn't even talk real estate.
Nope.
So I'm currently I'm currently working on it, but I think I'm gonna call it the Elevated Edge podcast. And basically I talk about real estate. I get professionals that come on and talk about their experience. And a lot of these people have like 20, 30 years experience and like are really, really successful people because they've done this for numerous years. And then there's like beginners that give their experience. So now I talk about books that I think have been really helpful to me and just everyday life. And I talk about actually like the NFL experience of trying to go through pro day and what I learned through that whole process. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself, and they're a little longer than your episodes. So, you definitely gotta like sit back. Some will be like, 30 minutes, some will actually be over an hour. So it just kind of depends. But I have 26 or will be 26 once we drop your episode.
Fire, fire. So what I'm hearing, Naim, is you're a one percenter. How does that make you feel?
I mean, it it would be nice to be in the 1%, but I think 1% just means that like might not necessarily mean monetarily because like I'm not making money off this podcast. So and you're talking about in regards to the podcast, correct?
Yeah, yeah. No, I just said it
Yeah,
very
yeah,
broadly to get some sort of reaction
yeah,
out of you. So,
yeah. So that's what, so because like I showed you that stat that like if you
yeah,
down or upload over 21 episodes, you're in the 1% for podcasts. But really it's just the beginning stages. Like there's so much that you learn along the way. If you listen to my first few, they suck. It's a
same
whole
here.
experiment. Yeah, it's an experiment the whole way. Like you find out what you are like successful at, because you even mentioned this like Anchor is a great app to have because it shows you kind of like your demographic, what people actually like listening to. And what I found out is my second most viewed one was uh, of me and five other guys talking about our NFL Pro Day experience and like what went into the process. And I don't even talk about like, trying to play football at the next level and stuff. So that's something that, I think can add value, whether I talk about, being a D1 collegiate athlete or like what it takes to try to get to the next level. So yeah, there's a lot of things that, I want to talk about like health and fitness too, because that's something that I love, and my business ventures.
We'll definitely get to the business ventures, but since you brought it up, let's talk about health and fitness. You've seen me over the years. I wasn't always a big kid, and then I got to be a big kid, and then I was a smaller kid. But now I'm a medium-sized kid, but I'm going towards the smaller kid thing. So me myself personally, I think along with my academics and getting my funds up, I think health is very important, because what's the point of being smart and educated as well as having more money than you know what to do with if you on your deathbed at 33? So like how do you, like, what do you have to say about the importance of health, like in your life, as well as the current status of people in our own society?
Yeah,
Obesity is real, okay?
yeah, and that's so taking it and looking at society, and I might not be right, but if you look at it, I feel like it's just a trap because we have all fast food around us and like it's quick and easy. So a lot of people resort to that because it's quick and easy
Mm-hmm.
and normally it's cheap. And you might not want to spend an hour to make food for your whole family. And I think the sad thing about it is that like I feel like the US just lets it happen,
Yeah.
with all these fast food restaurants because honestly it funds healthcare, it funds different things because now guess what, we need more people to go to hospitals because they're obese and they're having health issues. So it literally, I feel like obesity has somewhat funded like the whole healthcare medicine industry, like all that. So obviously it's really sad to see that because as a whole the United States, like even though we're literally like the richest country, we're also like the fattest country. So and it's something that I've seen firsthand people struggle in my life. Like whether we want to talk about like my own mom had struggled with obesity, and I know hundreds of people literally that
Mm-hmm.
struggle with it. And like for example, for her, she had she won't care, but like she was upwards of like 250, 260, and now she's like 140 because she like dedicated herself
Yeah.
to, she just had a wedding and you shot the photos at it, and like she really dedicated herself to like losing weight over time. And so I'm really proud of her, for example. Like that's a success story. um but even though it's a success story, it's a whole life, so you can lose weight, yeah, that's great, but how can you sustain
Can you
that
maintain
level of
it?
weight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, and I've seen it with you, D. Like you definitely, but at the same time, when you're younger, like it's all on your parents. At the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, it's your parents' habits because as a kid you don't know better. So like when you're overweight, and I was even overweight actually when I was a sixth grade, and my mom threw me in boxing, so
Yeah.
I lost like 15 pounds, and that really like, and then I got a little taller, so I like literally was like skin and bone. Like I looked like it, it's like I looked like an actual athlete compared to just like a little overweight. But I think everything has to do with your habits. And one of the biggest things I'll say, because I just trained for my pro day, like I'm in phenomenal shape right now because I've been training twice a day pretty much for the last 6 months of my life. I'll say that sleep is really important, and making sure you have a precise like schedule. Cause I mean, I'm busy. I had classes I was taking while training. So it's like, all right, like I need to get 8 hours to make sure I work out. And you're probably, people listening, you're probably not going to work out as hard as I did. Cause obviously I'm training to like play sports, but you want to get on a routine where you're at least working out 30 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to ask any more questions, I'm just going to stop it there and then you can keep rolling off
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
could go all day.
Yeah,
All day.
I know you could. That's why I asked. Okay, we got to fill some space up somehow. But I do appreciate that, and I think that something that you can provide some commentary on that helps people lose this weight is having like that support system or like that structure in their life, or just more importantly, people that can like hold them accountable. I think
Yeah.
that point cannot be underscored. When I had lost a lot of weight, before, I gained my COVID 40 back. I worked out with people. I had people I would see at the gym. We'd work out 3 hours a day. Or 6 days a
Yeah.
week. Every day is
Yeah.
unhealthy. But
And that's a big thing I want to say. Like, for example, so if I'm talking about pro day right now, so like that's basically, for anybody not that doesn't understand, like that's like the day for all like people that just graduated from like your college pretty much and are trying to declare for the NFL. It's basically where they go in front of scouts and do a whole bunch of testing, like 40 vert test, do skills and like drills type stuff. And I think I learned a lot throughout this process. So I'm trying to like apply it to how an average person could use it. And it's completely a support system, like you said, because I had four other guys around me, and like they held me to a standard and kept me accountable. And I still work out with one of the guys currently, and we both didn't get picked up, and like that's what's fueling us. So like you need to make sure that whether it's like you're joining like a fitness center that has like a good group maybe just to start out, or you go with a friend. I feel like that's the biggest thing. But really, working out is important, but it's 100% your diet. It's what you consume. It's how much you consume. America consumes way too much food, way too much processed food. Processed food makes you fat. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing. Like a lot of people need to get more vegetables in them, and like some of the fruits you actually need to be careful with, because like a lot of the fruits that you think of are actually really high in sugar. So you want to try to stay away from sometimes actually some of those, especially when you're not on like not an athlete per se, because sometimes you need sugar to like feel your body and stuff. Definitely you got to watch the carbs when you're not working out as much too, because that's going to kill you. So like making sure you eat lean protein. Honestly, try to stay away from red meat. I stay away from pork. Like dad always, like, obviously religion reasons, I think he stayed away from pork. I don't really know. I'm not gonna ask.
I don't know either,
but,
to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know either. But like personally, like I mean, I'll eat pork occasionally, but it's something that I don't like. I try to stay away from.
Yeah.
And even like just eat salmon. If you can afford salmon,
eat salmon
every day. Just eat salmon. Yeah, it's a process though. Like you gotta track what you eat at the end of the day, because it's literally 90% of it is eating. If anybody, like, you gotta look at your diet. That's just the biggest thing that I can say for anybody. I can't really lay out a specific plan for you because everybody works out different, but exercise and diet and just stay the course. Can you do that for years on end?
Yeah. I had someone say to me at some point that if you're eating food that doesn't spoil in a week, it's not good for you, you know? That just kind of gets at the whole process thing. You know, you definitely can get some freezer foods that, you know, you buy in May of 2022 that don't go out until 2024 or something, you know. They may have put something in that to make it last a little bit longer, but hey, who's counting, you know, not me. So yeah, with all that being said, we're gonna go back to your support system type thing you were mentioning, and flip that, you know, now to the business side of things, and specifically your new business venture with your partners. Would you like to talk about that at all?
Yeah, so I mean, it's something that I've kind of always had in the back of my head. And you know, for anybody listening, I guess like the big thing that I realized during that COVID summer, like reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, he talks about like the importance. Basically, there's a cash flow quadrant if you look at it, and I and a business owner is on like the right side, and like the self-employed and employee E&S is on the left side. You don't want to be like, you can be on the left side, but you want to get to the right side. And basically like an I is for an investor on the right side, if you're understanding, and you want to be like an accredited investor. So that's basic. There's certain thresholds, but basically it's based on how much money you make in a year. And it's long story short, like you want to get to a point where you can be an accredited investor or a business owner. And a business owner, ultimately, you want to create systems in place to work in your business, or not work in your business, but like on your business. So you want to be clearly the owner, so other people are operating it. So that's kind of like where I've came from. Like I want to get things in line to where I can, and a group of guys and I can not have to work in the business, because currently we're working in the business, but like talking about the actual business called LS&W, and it stands for Let's Start New Wealth, and it's a LLC. So I actually created all the paperwork and stuff. I just took a class on it. So, had the guys go over it just to make sure I was doing everything right. But it was a whole process. I learned a ton of valuable business information because, there's steps that you got to do. You got to open up a bank account, like a business bank account. You got to keep my transactions separate from the business, like, because there's a thing called a corporate veil. And if you pierce it, then people can come after your assets if you get sued. Sorry, I'm going all over the place.
No, this is on topic, Naeem. The
Yeah,
people want to hear this.
Long story short, like, it's just LLC that we created. We're in Houston. It's 3 other teammates. One just graduated, like, with me. 2 are still on Rice, and their names are Jordan Myers, Trey Schumann, and Lamont Narcisse. And yeah, so we're literally just trying to raise capital from investors, and we actually just got our first location. It's a place where we train at in the Woodlands. So Woodlands is 30 minutes north of downtown, 45 minutes ish. And we train there. So we got a location there. We're actually looking at a Top Golf right now, and we just raised 20K for it, which is pretty cool.
That's fire, actually.
And yeah, so we're in the process of buying it right now. So hopefully that goes through, because the revenue on that is over 3,000 a month. So that'd be pretty big.
Yeah, good ROI if you do the numbers right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, switching, themes here. Let's talk about gold and silver. Okay. I know you. And if you said you've listened to my podcast and such, I've talked about you and your interest in gold and silver and just physical things you can hold in your actual hand. Yeah. So I since we're here, let me pick your brain real quick. Like, why are you into gold and silver more than, let's say, just investing in the S&P 500?
Okay. Yeah, and so I'm gonna go back a little bit just to give you guys an understanding of, like, why I think the way I do. Robert Kiyosaki, he kind of does this, and I think the biggest thing is that I want to own real assets. I want to be able to physically touch it. So I can literally go to the Woodlands and touch my machine. Like, I literally own that. Now, when you talk about the stock market, that's like paper money. Like, it's not made up, you know what I'm saying? But, like, you literally, like, it's made up almost. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't I physically can't see. I can physically see gold and silver.
Yeah.
Now, full disclosure, I've only been given some gold, so nobody rob me, please. But I actually own silver. I don't even hold it at my home, so good luck. But anyway, so that's why I'm really big in liking, like, real estate. I want to be a business owner because, like, I literally, like, own the business, and, like, there's assets with that business that come along. And yeah, so that's, like, what I'm attracted to as a investor. And it's okay, you can love the stock market. Like, I think the S&P 500, like, basic stocks, like they're fine. It's different, because all I'm gonna say is that being, like, a true investor, that's not being, like, a true investor almost in my eyes. It's like a safer play, which is cool because you need, like, some safer investments. But, like, I see gold and silver as, like, just something that is a store of your wealth, not necessarily, because you're not going to get dividends from it every quarter or every year. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not paying you money to own them, but it's a way for you to be able to just hold a physical asset. And since the beginning of time, what has lasted? Gold and silver. So do you think all of a sudden it's going to, like, go to nothing? And I will say, I'm a huge fan of silver. You can get it for around 25 an ounce. And so I've been buying normally in, like, 10-ounce increments. I would grab one just to show you, but I'd have to get up and but anyway,
we got time. We could talk about Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, but, like, anyway, yeah, so you can literally buy it in, like, ounce increments and stuff like that, like 10 ounce, 100 ounce, depending on how much money. But when you're investing, like, you gotta make sure you save up a emergency fund, and that's something that I'm struggling with right now, because I'm going to talk about, I've invested in Doge because I got greedy.
Yeah.
And I had like over $10,000 saved up, man, and like it burnt me. Like I lost a lot of that money, and it was just because I was greedy. I didn't think things through, and I just not educated. And if I had to do it over today, like I wouldn't have done that. And so I'm glad I did it now because I'm 23 and learning, and like I'm okay. Like I'm not absolutely struggling, but definitely like make sure you have an emergency fund that you can go back on, and like try not to touch, but it's there just in case. So yeah, like I'm definitely a fan of silver because it's cheaper. So if you're on a college budget like we are, you can get it for 25 an ounce. You can get 10 ounces for $250. So, but the only thing that you need to know, like there's little coins that'll be like the ounce, but the premiums are a little higher. So like, let's say silver selling at 25, it'll be like a $7 premium compared to if you bought a 10 ounce like block, it'd be like, my fault, I don't even know how to make a little block. It'd be 10 ounces, but the premium would be like $3 an ounce or something like that. So it'd be just cheaper. So if you can buy in more bulk, then I would suggest that. So start with silver. And obviously I'm not I
Financial
do have to
advisor.
disclose, I am not a financial advisor. I will be someday. I should be. But make sure you do your own research because that's really important. But I like silver, and at the end of the day, it's something that you can start out small with and just continue to grow over time.
I respect that. All right, we're gonna move on to another topic that you just slightly brushed upon real quick, but first I gotta take a drink of water. Mm. Stay hydrated, y'all. Okay, drink your water.
Oh, and for yeah, get rid of pops, get rid of juice, like try to drink as much water as possible.
If you're
That's
not
another help.
peeing water out, if it's not clear, you drink more. Okay,
Yeah, if you can smell your own pee, then it's bad.
it's bad. Okay, and yeah, bing bong. Oh, we're gonna move on. Okay, so next topic here. Lord, there was literally something I was about to talk about, but I forgot. So we're gonna move on to one of the next things I had on the scripted half of this. This is a semi-structured interview, I guess technically speaking, harkening back to 20 minutes ago when I said what kind of interview this was. Let's talk about your goals, Naeem. Okay, so obviously you had brushed on this, but what's like the next goal you want to achieve in the short term, and then on the flip side of that, what's your end goal? Like, what's your I've made it moment, in life?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, the biggest thing right now is I'm kind of in this weird transition where I didn't get picked up from an NFL team and like don't know what necessarily is going to go on. So regardless, like I have a internship coming up in June just as like a, safety net. It'll be a tax position, make some money. But the biggest thing is I just want to find a full-time job at this point. Like it's to a point where whether it's like I want to get paid for to play football, or pay to just like, become like a CPA and start working in real estate or tax or something like that. So yeah, I mean, that's just find something that will make me some money, because I'm to that point where I just like I want to get to that point where I start to feel like a man, and like that's something that I feel like is important because I'm to that transition where I just got one semester of school. So if I got picked up this fall, then I won't finish it because I'd like to play football, and then I'll just come back and finish it later. But basically, so find a full-time job. That'd be nice. Get paid to play, or
Get the
start my
dough.
career. Yeah. But long-term wise, I mean, I just want to be able to be financially free, really just be comfortable. Like regardless, I want to enjoy what I do. I want to be able to travel the world. Like I have a girlfriend of 6 years, and we live together, and that's like we have a vision board, and we want to be able to travel with each other across the whole world whenever we want. So I feel like that'd be really fun, have a whole bunch of experiences, because I feel like you only get one life. So you definitely want to be able to travel, do whatever, see, have experiences. And that's something that I'm big on.
Mm-hmm.
Financially free from the aspect of I can be detached from, LSNW, but still make money from it, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
my LLC. So, build that up and do well enough financially to where we can, be able to choose if we want to work or not. I mean, I think I will always work because I am passionate and like I actually enjoy this startup already. And like I could see myself doing 20 of these just because it's like I'm hungry and I like doing this stuff. And I'm learning so much along the way. So really, that's about it, man. Just be able to spend time with family. That's another thing. Like, yeah,
I respect it. I respect all of that. And I would like to underscore that as something I think most people should strive for in life. I know me personally, I do. We talked about this when I came on your podcast, but I'm trying to retire when I'm 35. And for me,
yeah,
retirement means being financially free. That does not mean I don't want a job. That just means if I, the vision I had in life, if that doesn't go through and I find myself working some job I don't like, by the time I'm 35, I would like to be able to not even put my 2 weeks in and just walk out of there and like be this isn't for me, and just go try something new, a different realm. Maybe I need to go manufacture paper, okay, or wind turbine blades or something. I don't know. I just like I would say like my ultimate goal in life is I want to see how many college degrees I can get. Like that's how I got too much money is when I got like 100 degrees. I just want to be educated. I guess is my version of it. But yeah, speaking on something you had just brought up here now though, Naeem, you were talking about working with taxes and such, and I know you are a person who has some views on taxes. Okay, so I just want to ask you a couple quick questions about it.
yeah.
Do you pay tax? No, I'm just joking. Obviously you do. I would
I
hope.
will. I will, because like obviously I have an internship, so if you're making money, you got to somehow.
But if a person is, I mean, being that you're a up and coming entrepreneur, I mean, you're doing the thing, that's part of the business side of it is, finding ways to maximize profits, we'll say. So from your perspective as a, business owner with partners that are raising large amounts of money thus far and actively investing them in physical assets, like how do you think, especially I don't know Texas's tax laws or anything, but could you like provide some insight?
Yeah, I mean, so definitely, I hate politics personally. Like, I'm just somebody that I and we might have completely different views. D, like, I honestly don't know, but I really just don't like the whole like government. I just think that a lot of things are just window dressing
Mm-hmm.
for like what's really wrong in the world. So like I'm just somebody that just like I just really don't keep up with politics. It's just I feel like it's just something that's really unproductive. And but from personal experience in like Texas has really favorable tax laws, and that's why you actually see a lot of people moving here right now. Like for example, Houston was either one or two on the list of most moved to places in this last year, and like that's why you're seeing people move from California. And that's typically what happens when you have like a Democratic, like California is going to be more Democratic, Texas more Republican. You're going to see more like favorable tax laws with that, just in general.
Yeah,
Um, Once again, I'm not political, so I don't
it's okay. We
really
we
care.
we like all viewpoints here, Naeem. Okay, if you want to
Yeah,
get controversial,
but like
get controversial.
no, but like if you're running a business though, like that's why people are actually moving to Texas, and the cost of living too. You got to look at that. Like the cost of living in California is insane, and like you can live in Houston, and Houston might be a little bit of a grimy city, but it's a place of a ton of opportunity. Like it's literally the energy capital of the world. Like there's so many opportunities here. Literally like millions. I think it's what the fourth largest state in or yeah, fourth largest city in America. So
Yeah.
yeah, so just with tax law, there's a tax law that has a bunch of code, and something that I've learned because I listen to a CPA named Tom Wheelwright, and he's kind of like a rich dad advisor, and he has podcasts, and I think a lot of things that I listen to are controversial sometimes, and like that's good because there's some that I've heard there's three sides to a coin. Or my fault. There's three sides to a coin: heads, tails, and on the outer rim of it, on the side. And you want to be on the like outer rim, the side of it, because you want to see all viewpoints. And that's just something that with tax, I think that's really intriguing with Texas in general, because I think there's something to where I I have to look into it. And if you're in Texas, make sure you find a CPA that can really tell you. But for like a LLC, we could make like $1 million in total, and we wouldn't pay state tax on that. So it's like, really, this is a place to be if you're trying to run business. Long story short.
I respect
Do you
that.
have any more questions in regards to tax? Because like I can talk on like some of it. I don't know everything.
Yeah. No, I would say like this is just very informative, and I think I want to highlight something you said there, is understanding all viewpoints, and that's what I try to do on this podcast. I want to bring on people I completely disagree with in life, and I'm not saying I completely disagree with you, Naeem. We have a lot in common, just because we grew up together to some degree. But also, that is something I do say to folks, and people just think I'm crazy, especially when the topic of politics comes up. I'm technically like a registered independent. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, I do vote a little Democratic, but I do watch Fox News and like actually try to keep in contact with the Republican folks. I lived with a Trump supporter, and I do, literally put myself in a situation to where what you just said is, my reality. So I understand the importance, but I just try to do my part to tell people that consistently, because it is something that I think, especially nowadays, and even more so throughout the pandemic, has been brought in or has been raised to another degree, is partisanship, whether it just be over like simple basic things, or just like how at times we forget that we're all citizens in the same country here, like we're arguing over simple things or what have you. But like you said, you're not political, so we won't get into that. And I'm not political either, okay? I'm a sociology and African American studies major. I'm not no political science major. But I do think, politics are important to some degree, but there is benefit on turning a blind eye simply if you want to live a happy life, because as they say, ignorance is bliss. But
yeah, and just adding to that, it's just like, it's cool if like you're political. Like, I don't have no issue with that. It's just something that like I feel like I said, like there's just a lot of window excuse me, just had a voice crack. A lot of window dressing with and just like, I think for me, like I wouldn't get enough out of it to make it worthwhile. Like there's other places I can put my time into, like, and the big thing is I'm trying to focus on me right now. Like that's, and like the people around me, like I'm trying to better us. And like in the grand scheme of things, okay, might be controversial.
Oh, let's hear it.
In the grand scheme of things, like one person can change a lot, but like I'm a little guy right now, like, and I'm trying to become like somebody bigger, but like in the grand scheme of things, one person normally can't just change like everything around them, especially at first.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm trying to just like focus on myself, and then, create betterment within society. And that's why like I think it's really cool with like businesses and stuff. And like when you see like lesser tax laws, you actually will see some things where like businesses are doing things to be able to like support organizations around like wherever their community is, because they get tax incentives and like write-offs by being able to give money to certain charitable organizations.
Yeah. So like on the topic of that, I mean, we're really going down the rabbit hole of taxation right now. But this is important. Our country literally was formed because people were being taxed without representation. Okay, so I think this actually is a very important topic, and so much so that this last weekend during finals week here at Iowa, there was some protests going on, and I went around and photographed some of the chalking and spray paint, and such that was being put on the ground and such. And someone had said taxation is a crime in general. So this is definitely something people feel rather very strongly about, and I think it is very important. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Just to beat the dead horse one more time. You're interested in real estate, correct? So
Yes.
how does
And
taxation? Oh, you go, you
okay,
go,
go
you
ahead.
go.
Go ahead.
No, I insist. You, Naeem.
No,
Okay.
I was just gonna say, like anybody listening, like two things that are guaranteed in life: you're gonna pay taxes and you're gonna die. Like those are two things, and you might not necessarily need to understand it, but you need to like have a broad understanding, or at least have somebody on your team that understands it, that can really help guide you. And that's why I think it's really important to learn it, because I mean, there's so much to learn in it. Like literally, the tax code is thousands of pages long,
Mm-hmm.
but like only like a lot of it is incentives for you to be a business owner, for you to go out and get properties. Like there's a like all that code is like basically how can you help the government wants you to do certain things. They give incentives to people that do these certain things that are like perceived like riskier. Owning real estate, for example, you get tons of tax law benefits with it, and that's something that'll literally like create wealth for you, and being able to defer taxes to a later date. If you guys ever heard of a 1031 tax exchange, so I can talk about that real quick. So say you bought a house for like $100,000 and you have to own it for over a year. Like you have to like rent it out or whatever, for like rent it out to somebody for over a year. But on that year, you could sell it. You can, let's say you sold it for 125,000. You should be taxed on that gain. It's called a capital gains tax. That's why flippers are taxed, and they're normally taxed at a higher rate. But real estate investors, a true investor, is somebody that can defer that 125 and now roll it over. Now you could put that in a down payment, maybe like you put that $125,000 into a down payment for like $1 million commercial property, and you didn't pay any taxes. And this is something that wealthy people do, is because you can defer it to a later date, and literally you could do it like defer it till death. So, and a dollar today is worth more than a dollar tomorrow. So when you look at it, present value versus like future value, the dollar today, because of inflation, if you guys know, like it'll be less. So you're going to technically pay significantly less tax.
All right, all right. Tax. So I think in terms of like just sum up everything we're talking about, we're just talking about financial literacy, okay? And most importantly, like how that is not taught in our educational systems, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, it's not at all.
So with that being said, I mean this is like my second to last question here. That transition was too far. That being said, what are your thoughts about our current education system? And do you think financial literacy is something that should be taught in schools?
All right. So first off, if you live in a capitalistic society, they need people to not be quote unquote woke, because somebody's got to work at the end of the day.
Someone's got to
Somebody's
be
got
the
to work for
worker.
somebody. So they're not going to teach it in our, education system, point blank period. Now, should it? Of course, because, but the thing is a lot of people will just teach you, oh, get a 401k, just save your money, and that's cool for people that aren't educated. But the whole point is you want to become educated and be like, I want to be in charge of myself creating wealth. That's the biggest thing. Like I want to own physical assets because I want to be able to set up my family, my kids, for a successful future. And like you can do that because there's so many incentives by being a true investor, instead of like just throwing money in something that's like safer, or like, different things like that. But what was the other question? Sorry.
Oh, you kind of answered it already. And do you think financial literacy should be taught in schools? Which you
Yeah,
answered.
I think yes, it should, but like they're just, when you think about it, it's like
We
you live
need
in a
cogs
capitalist
in the
society.
system. Okay.
Yeah, and this is something that we talk about, like it's the matrix, bro. And like it's really like cool when you like figure out like, all right, at least there's more to life. And that's what, like, reading books, and there's so many educational things out there for you to at least learn. And but don't jump in right away, just educate yourself.
I think like that's one thing. Just going back to your Matrix comment, or comment, rather, for a second. Something or someone I look up to, they go by the name of Andrew Tate. I'm not sure if you are familiar with the businessman himself. But he's American, black man. Lives in Romania now, and just does what he does to make hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Okay, as he would say, my job is to now flex on the brokies, because I have that much money. I got you money, okay, as some would say. And something he had brought up is literally the whole concept, but he framed it as he is literally Morpheus. He has courses that he does for free at times, literally showing people the various ways that he actually makes money, or like how he literally funded his Bugatti Chiron, that he just bought $5 million USD, or or whatever it may be, whether that's taxation as we talked about here, or the books you should read, just how to be a well-rounded individual in every asset, or facet rather, that's the right word, and just how to be a good person. Yet no one takes the advice. I think like that's the one thing that I guess I would like to change in this world, because obviously someone, like you said, Naeem, someone has to be, a player in the game. We can't all be game developers. Okay, that's another way of saying it for those of you out there.
Exactly. That's really good.
But that being said, there are definitely ways to like make your life more comfortable. Okay, I don't think half of our nation plus should be living paycheck to paycheck out here. But
Yeah.
I
And oh, you just gotta realize that, like, and this is a big thing. A lot of people are fearful. A lot
oh,
of
big
people aren't
time.
educated, and a lot of people don't want to spend the time doing it because they think it's like hard
It's
or
it's
whatnot.
easier
But
just
like,
to be broke.
people
You
are
don't have to do
lazy,
anything.
and like, there's a stigma with being wealthy, and there's a difference between wealthy and rich. I firmly believe like rich is kind of like what you see online with people posting, but that person that's rich could technically be wealthy. But or there's only wealthy people could be rich, but rich people cannot be wealthy.
Yeah.
That's the way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
So wealthy people are people who are like investors that are like, for example, let's say what's the dude that lives in Omaha, the
Oh,
billionaire.
what's
Uh,
Warren Buffett?
yeah, Warren Buffett. For example, like he drives like a 20 or 2005 car or
Like a
something. Like I seen a
Volvo.
picture of it, and like he lives in like a $200,000 house. Like that's like the example of being wealthy. Like he could live in a quadrillion-dollar house, like, for example. But and he might have one. I don't know. But just from the picture that I've seen, so like wealthy people are conscious of their spending habits. It's called the savings gap. Like so let's say you made $40,000 a year and you spend 20,000 a year. How can you increase your wealth to like 80,000 but still live at the 20,000?
Yeah,
And that's a lot of
that's
people. A lot of people suffer with that because it's
lifestyle
like the rat.
inflation. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the rat race, and that's what a lot of people, because you're getting a raise each year, and then you're like, oh, I can afford this now, but
It's like,
now
no, you
you still
can't.
yeah, and now you're living a paycheck to paycheck, and that's why 79% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and it's not because of the amount of money they make; it's because of their spending habits.
You know, I
A
know.
lot of them,
Yeah.
a lot of them, at least. Like there are people that make significantly less
Mm-hmm.
too.
No, I know people personally who are making, drastic cuts to their own ways of life, just to, be able to fund, basic things. So I do know this to be the reality, for it is the experience in which I have seen myself. And on this podcast, I like to speak from experience and facts and such, and rather not so much speculation. So with all that being said, I mean, Naim, we could keep going forever and ever,
Yeah,
but looking at the how long we've been going thus far, it's looking like we got 51 minutes on the clock. So I think we have rambled on for enough time. So before I get your final comments, concerns, and any questions you have for me, I just want to summarize, what we talked about today. So in essence, we talked about three main things. One, how to get your money up, the life of being a college kid, and most importantly, from Naeem's perspective, what it's like to be a college athlete and such. And then that moved into, wealth creation and business moves, and which ultimately led its way to like education and whether that be about, you know, taxes or the actual books you read in class or the number of degrees you obtain. So yeah, I'm not even sure if those were on topic or not, but we're just gonna go with them. So with that being said, Naeem, let me hear your final thoughts. What did you think about your experience today? And do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, man, I just appreciate you letting me come on, and sorry if I bored you guys at all today, but like honestly, like for anybody listening, it's something that like will affect you regardless either way. So you need to make sure whether you're trying to run a business, you set it up right, you know, you're around the right people, you got to stay motivated. You want to like keep getting better each day. So no, man, I mean, I just really appreciate you letting me come on, talk about, you know, my podcast too. So you make sure you guys check that out.
I will put it in the description below, so do check it
Yeah,
out. I mean, I've
yeah,
plugged
but
it on
like,
episodes before. I've screen recorded and
yeah,
showed the people
yeah,
on YouTube how to find it specifically. So
yeah. You have. I've seen that, so it's much appreciated, man. But really, I mean, I don't have no questions for you because I just had you on the podcast and we talked about your experience. So,
indeed.
but man, I look forward to us just continuing to talk with each other going forward. And you're my brother, so you know I'll always be with you, man. I love you, so
Hey,
appreciate it.
love you too, bro. Virtual handshake dap up. Yeah. Oh yeah. This is weird. But yeah, so with all that being said, thanks for watching today's episode 72 of the Positivity Hour. And on your way out the door, make sure you like, subscribe, unsubscribe, hate, comment, follow, unfollow, share, report. You know, I don't care what you do, you know, as long as you're staying positive at the end of the day. That's all that matters, or at least trying. Okay, just try to live a better life tomorrow than you are today, and all of that comes with just realizing the opportunities you got. But I really need to end this. I'm gonna keep on rambling. So peace out, y'all, and keep moving forward, as TJ Hunt would say. So woo.